Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Nobody knows who'll win the 2022 season right now. The rules are being reworked to the point where they're essentially challenging the entire way the vehicle functions aerodynamically at a time when power unit development is completely halted. In today's video, we discuss why Mercedes F1 is in trouble for 2022. Keep watching until the end of the video to find out what trouble for the Mercedes Formula 1 team will be in this year, 2022. But before we continue, kindly hit the notification button to be notified when I post new videos, and let's get started without further ado. Because of new rules for the 2022 Formula 1 season, Mercedes is finding it difficult to change its power unit. Mercedes engine boss Hywel Thomas said that the team had made a few minor changes to the engine, but it had frightened a lot of people. The new regulations have become one of the most significant changes the way cars work in Formula 1 history. The goal of the rules is to improve the racing on the track. The rules, on the other hand, have drastically altered the game. One of them is converting to E10 fuel, which contains 10% less ethanol. Because of the fuel, the engine produces a little less power. Before the game freezes in 2026, the teams must make their power units as good as possible. Why is the Mercedes struggle different than in previous years? Mercedes' struggles over the last few years have been widely discussed. This year appears to be different from the previous year, so it isn't the same. The team had trouble adjusting to small rule changes meant to keep downforce in check during 2021 testing. These modifications had a greater impact on the German manufacturer's aerodynamic philosophy. It threw the car off balance, but the team was able to correct it in time to win 3 of the first 4 races and 3 of the first 4 pole positions. With each passing season, they can be obtained faster and faster to win the title of Best Developer. It had serious issues at the start of the season, but they weren't as severe as the team claimed. Mercedes struggled to adjust to the new aerodynamic package it received for the second half of the preseason testing, and Mercedes had figured out how to use the aero kit by the end of the last day and was ready to race. The season was won by the team, however the rules have changed so drastically this year that the learning curve is steeper than it was in 2019. There were many positive signs of progress in 2019, and there haven't been as many this year. Mercedes is having a difficult time in the new Formula 1 season because the car has a lot of bounce. For the first time in decades, the ground effect has returned to F1 as part of the new technical rules, and to create downforce, you want to keep your car as close to the track as possible. When you drive fast, the Mercedes generates downforce. As a result, the car's ride height decreases. This prevents air from moving both beneath the car, causing it to rise slightly, and finally the car begins to rise, restarting the cycle. But for what reasons do you think they said Mercedes would have a problem in 2022? The Mercedes design has been repetitive. The general director of Mercedes' high-performance powertrains division, the team's earlier concepts were repetitive. He stated that the current situation of the team is unique. According to the driver, the staff has done a tremendous job, especially with the way it sits inside. We're all aware of how much effort it takes to get it into the car. The engine's front end is completely different, and we've talked about the front of the engine over the years, but we rearrange it almost every year. But this wasn't a minor reorganization. This has been a terrifying experience, and with exhaust, I guess it's another one of those items where you kind of look at it every year, tweak it here and there. Porpoise is a problem. During the preseason, this was a big word. At high speeds, when the car has a lot of downforces, it almost touches the track. The car's aerodynamic floor stops moving at that point, the car loses its downforce and bounces up on its suspension, at which point the floor creates downforce and pulls the car down to the ground. It does this repeatedly, and it continues in this manner. Porpoising can be cured by making numerous compromises at the same time. Because downforce is so important, you can increase the ride height or stiffen the suspension to make it more difficult for drivers to ride the curbs and lock their wheels. You can also alter the floor to reduce the amount of downforce produced in the first place. Some teams use stays, which are similar to large staples, to keep the bottom from bending and create the most downforce at high speeds. Most teams in Barcelona were able to deal with porpoising. In Bahrain, no one had a new version as aggressive as Mercedes, so their solutions worked. Mercedes had to use its new aero kit to deal with the issue once more, increasing the car's downforce. Normally, this is a good thing, but this wasn't working well enough. The worst of the porpoising was not eradicated until the very last day of testing. However, some of the downforces were lost as a result. Finally, even if testing lap times aren't everything, it turned out that its lap times were way off. George Russell was unable to match Max Verstappen's blistering final lap time, and we've made some progress with the bouncing. Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin remarked, "It also feels like we've made a step in the right direction with our setup today. If we can reduce the bouncing and get the car more settled, there's still a lot of speed to come." The perspective. This year there are a lot of new rules, and they aren't as simple to understand as they were last year. This year's problem is unique and it'll take more time to comprehend. Mercedes' approach to the rules may still be difficult to grasp and ineffective on most circuits. This will only become apparent as the sport travels to more diverse venues. The downforce that improves performance is present in the car, and there's currently far too much to manage. In comparison to Red Bull Racing, the better the team understands its package, the more downforce it will be able to employ, and the faster it will become. Consider the widespread suspicions in the paddock that Mercedes was running its engine at a low RPM. You may have seen one of the many speed traces circulating around that showed Mercedes maxing out on power well before the end of the straights compared to Ferrari or Red Bull Racing. Finally, keep in mind that we're talking about Mercedes, which has won the Constructors' Championship for the past 8 years despite numerous rule changes. The team doesn't need to exaggerate its problems to show up at the first round with a fast vehicle. It's proven capable of doing so in the past. Mercedes should be in contention for a podium finish in Bahrain, and if victories aren't possible this weekend, don't rule them out sooner rather than later. What are they able to do? If they can access it, Mercedes believe its zero-side pod design machine has some underlying raw speed. To keep the car from bouncing, the crew could raise the ride height, but this has performance implications, and the engineers and drivers must figure out how to get the car as close to the track as possible while avoiding bouncing impacts. This isn't going to be a quick fix. The team estimates it'll take several races to correct the problem. So, what are your thoughts? Will Mercedes be able to overcome its problems in 2022? Let us know in the comment section below. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please like it and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on another amazing video from us. Until next time.